On behalf of Hawkins Contracting, welcome and thanks for taking part in our visitor orientation. Hawkins is a core company that takes everyone's health and safety very seriously. To enhance the health and safety of all, this orientation is required by all visitors to a Hawkins site. This orientation identifies mandatory requirements for visitors, project hazards controls and PPE requirements, and emergency preparedness plans and procedures that apply. We will now go over some mandatory requirements for all visitors to site. All visitors must report directly to the supervisor or project manager upon arrival to the site. Be aware and keep out of areas where heavy equipment and vehicles are operated. Obey all site signage and keep out of restricted areas, such as areas marked with caution tape, cones, fencing, or do not enter signs. Advise a Hawkins representative if you require an accommodation or assistance to safely navigate the site, and report all observed hazards in cases of property damage, injury, illness, harassment, or violence. When you arrive on site, a Hawkins representative will review the site and project-specific hazards, but always come to site prepared for hazards in the form of moving and backing heavy equipment and vehicles, posing a risk of struck by, crushed by, and struck against injuries. Noise levels above 85 decibels produced by heavy equipment, small gas-powered equipment, cutting, grinding, and drilling operations, posing a risk of hearing damage and a cause for headaches. Air quality issues produced by heavy equipment, small gas-powered equipment, cutting, drilling, grinding, mixing, and dry conditions, posing a risk of irritation to the lungs, throat, and eyes. Uneven, drastic, rough, and wet grades, posing a risk of slips, trips, and falls, and exposure to climate and weather elements. Controls for the previously mentioned hazards include hard hat, high visibility upper body garment, and safety shoes are always required. Wear additional PPE and apply additional controls as required for the task. Hearing protection, disposable masks, and eye protection are often needed. Observe the direction given by signage, fencing, and barriers. Never enter the work zone of moving equipment or vehicles. Walk with caution and do not run. Dress according to the weather and plan to have a means of sheltering in place when climate extremes may exist. In the event of an emergency, leave the response to our trained staff. An emergency preparedness plan has been created for this site. In it, we discuss medical emergencies, fire emergencies, power line contact emergencies, trench rescue emergencies, confined space emergencies, severe weather and natural disaster emergencies, chemical spill emergencies, fall arrest suspension emergencies, and violence or harassment emergencies. Emergency coordinators have been assigned. All staff are trained in emergency response procedures for all possible emergency events found in our site EPP. Contacts for these emergency scenarios are predetermined. The most important details of this plan are found on the EPP map. The map indicates the assigned coordinators, communication methods, search personnel and zones, emergency device locations, evacuation routes, muster point. Where there is a sea container or trailer, this map is posted. A Hawkins representative will brief you on these details. If the site has a sea container or a trailer, it is in there that the first aid kit, eye wash, and 5-pound ABC fire extinguisher can be found. 5-pound ABC fire extinguishers are also found on all Hawkins heavy equipment and vehicles. First aid kits are also found in Hawkins vehicles. Do not use a fire extinguisher unless instructed to do so by a Hawkins EPP coordinator or if needed to mitigate immediate danger. Follow the instructions of the EPP coordinators and site staff. If you hear an air horn, relocate to the muster point. Use emergency devices only if required to mitigate immediate danger or if asked to assist by the emergency coordinators. Remain at the muster point until cleared to leave. If in the middle of a fire emergency, apply the RACE method. Rescue those who need help, then alarm others, then contain the fire if need be, And finally, extinguish or evacuate, only if needed to mitigate immediate danger or if asked to do so by a Hawkins EPP coordinator. And when extinguishing, apply the pass method. Pull the pin, aim low at the base of the flames, squeeze the handle, and sweep side to side. If you come across a medical emergency, apply the check, call, care method. Check the scene, then the person. Proceed only if it is safe to do so. Call for help from someone nearby and call emergency services if needed. Care for those with the most severe injuries first. Leave the care to first aiders. In the event of an injury where first aid is or may be required, do not leave the project site without reporting your injury. Have the injury treated, no matter how minor, by reporting it to a Hawkins representative. They will take you to the first aid station or bring a first aid kit to you. Record the treatment on the first aid report sheet. Thank you for participating in this orientation presentation. Enjoy your visit to our site. Please report to a Hawkins representative for further guidance. And remember, if ever you find yourself in one of the COVID-19 compromised states, please do not visit the site and seek medical advice.